So I joined the affiliate a few months after litigation had been filed in the Kansas Supreme Court that was attempting to decarcerate Kansas jails in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. And unfortunately, that litigation effort was not successful at the Kansas Supreme Court. So the affiliate was at this juncture of needing to decide, what do we do next? We don't want to leave this issue behind, but how do we use the legal tools that are at our disposal to actually try to help some of the people who are currently incarcerated and whose health and safety was at risk?
The Clemency Project was a very unusual project of the ACLU of Kansas in that it was taking on individual criminal cases in a way and then sort of shifting them to the executive mechanism that would allow them to get out of prison early.
So the affiliate came up with the idea through sort of the ingenuity of our then paralegal, now ACLU of Kansas communications director, to identify a large number of clients and work with them to file clemency petitions on their behalf. Basically to ask the governor to exercise the power she has in the executive branch to let these people out before the end of their sentence.
We had several clients that had pretty significant medical issues that would leave them vulnerable to complications or death from COVID-19.
So the affiliate worked to identify potential plaintiffs and potential people who could serve as clients for the Clemency Project, and then dived into their applications, helped them complete their applications, and in the end, managed to submit over 100 clemency petitions to Governor Kelly.
And at that point, we'd also had, after people sort of saw that we had filed this lawsuit and were clearly concerned and looking for solutions to COVID in prisons, we had already had so many calls and emails about, hey, what about my loved one? And so people were obviously really worried. And so then we started expanding from the core clients to, okay, folks who had reached out to us. And that's went quickly from 5 to 10 to ultimately 108 applications that, I filled out and filed. And, that included calls with the family and compiling statements and history. We sort of got their whole story, right? Like, this wasn't just a form. We attached an entire story of the person that we were applying for.
Governors in Kansas, typically, if they use the clemency power at all, are using it in their second term of office, at the end of their second term of office, and maybe for a small number of individuals.
There had already been some mass commutations in other states. I think Oklahoma's governor granted a lot of people who were sentenced to drug crimes, minor drug crimes, clemency or commutations. And so we sort of knew that in other states there were governors that were starting to see clemency as this sort of last resort to correct injustice in the system. And so we thought, okay, now's the time in Kansas.
Through this coordinated campaign, which involved direct representation and communications work, broader education of the public, and political pressure, Governor Kelly used the clemency power for a larger number of individuals in her first term than had ever been used by a first-term Kansas governor in the past. And what that meant was that some of our clients got to spend precious months at home with their families and have their health and safety protected.
There was one person, one of our clients, that we had applied to the governor for clemency for. This guy, Christopher McIntyre, was suffering from cancer. His family, because he was in prison, they didn't have a whole lot of contact with him. And apparently he'd been following. This affiliate filed somewhere in the neighborhood of 108 clemency applications. But Christopher's in particular was important to me.
He got those last few months with his family. I don't think we can discount what it means to be able to be with your family in your last days. And for his sister, Alicia, to be able to connect with him again. We alone probably set a record of how many applications they got. But I know on top of that, it just became too much. And so we developed a toolkit. So after about 100, you sort of feel like ready to tell people how to do something. We were able to develop this toolkit that just walked people through, because you don't need a lawyer to represent you to apply for clemency. And I think really demystified the whole process and I think I had heard at one point, and I believe it was from the governor's office, that there were 200 applications that they had received by then. And they were even considering hiring an additional staff in the governor's office to review applications for clemency. We absolutely wanted each of those 108 applications and the people that we represented to get freedom. But on top of that, too, this sort of concept of saying hundreds of people are worthy of a second chance right now is an idea that, but for us bringing it up, may not have, been, Governor Kelly may not have had otherwise.